Hi everybody, I'm Maggie. Welcome to Experiments in Crafting. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about Bernat Baby Blanket Stripes. I picked this up at a local Michael's to make a baby blanket for a friend who is due soon, and I just thought I would talk a little bit about it before I get that project started. So Bernat Baby Blanket Stripes is a new line from Bernat. They previously made blanket yarn and baby blanket yarn in solid and variegated colors. This is just a new line that has the solid colors and they change as you go, making stripes as you work your project. This yarn is a number 6 weight. The super bulky or number 6 weight is a little bit tricky. It sort of encompasses a wide variety of yarn weights because anything larger than a chunky yarn, which is a number 5, just gets all tossed into the number 6 category. So this yarn works up, they suggest an 8mm hook. I really prefer a 9mm hook when I work with any of the blanket yarns, and that's really because this yarn is very soft and very cuddly, and it tends to create a little bit of drag as you work it up. And I've found that using the 9mm hook, you just get a little bit less drag. Now, if you're working a pattern where size matters, such as a sweater or a hat, you wouldn't really want to change hook sizes unless you can gauge with your tension. But for a blanket where it doesn't matter if your stitches are a little bit looser and your project ends up a little bit larger, working with a slightly larger hook can make it a little bit easier. This yarn is 100% polyester. It's machine washable, machine dryable. Any of the projects that I've made have held up very well over time, even after washing and drying a couple of times. So one of the things I'd like to talk to you about is the color change and the way that Bernat has done this. As I was looking over this yarn, I did notice that they have just taken the two different colors and sort of twisted them together. There are these little stringy bits on the end of each side where they look like they've been maybe sewn together, or these could just be part of the yarn just not trimmed up very well. Something else to keep in mind when you're planning your project is that each of the balls of the stripes yarn start and end in different spots. So if you were to purchase and start working with this ball, you're going to end on just a tiny bit of yellow, but this ball picks up on light blue and works all the way to dark blue. So you're going to have to plan a little bit, and you might have to buy a little bit extra yarn to get your project done if you don't want to interrupt your color changes. I'm going to be using this yarn to make a corner-to-corner blanket. If you're interested in learning how to make one, I'm also going to be making a tutorial on that. Once that video is released, there'll be a link either on screen or down in the description. I'm going to get started on this blanket, and once I get a few rows worked up, I'll come back and show you guys how it's working up. All right, it's been a couple of days and I've finished my corner-to-corner blanket, and I've just got a couple of thoughts that I'd like to share with you about this yarn. So one of the things I really wasn't happy with were the joins between the two colors. So the way they did the joins was that they just took the two colors and spun them together and sewed across them. And while I don't have a better suggestion as to how to change colors, some of the spots were worse than others, where there were lots of little thread tails and also tails from the different colors of yarn. And the little thread tails can just be snipped off. Those aren't such a big deal. But these little yarn tails are hard to find once you've worked up your project. But I don't want them to get snagged. And actually, part of the problem is that when you have the ends of this yarn, they fray really easy. And see, I can just pull this. And I don't want a big fuzzy spot in the middle of my blanket after it gets washed and dried. So I'm a little bit concerned about those, but overall, I think that they're okay, especially when you factor in the convenience of having one ball of yarn. You don't have to take 4 colors with you to try and work on the project. So that actually is really nice to just have the one ball that can travel around with you. If I was working a larger project where I would have to have, say, 3 or 4 balls of yarn, I probably would just buy the 4 individual solid colors and do the joins where I want them, because that was one of the other issues that I ran into. So you can see here on this part of the blanket, I've done the blue section, and then there was one block of blue before I switched to yellow. So this yellow triangle has a blue corner here. If I had gotten to choose where I was doing my color changes, I definitely would not have had this happen. Part of the other issue is that because you don't have control over the length of the colors, you don't have control over the width of your stripes. So you can see this corner is very wide, and then I have a row of about 4 blocks, and then the next row is 3 blocks wide at this end, but only 2 blocks wide here, because I had a color change happen here and here. And so I've got a really wide section and then a really short section. And when the blanket is opened up and laid out, you can see that it's not wildly noticeable, but it is less than ideal. So overall, I would use this yarn again if I was going to make a small project. In this case, I used 2 balls of the Bernat Baby Blanket Stripes, and I had about 30 grams left over. If you have any other questions about this yarn, go ahead and leave those in the comment section below. If you like this video, hit subscribe so that you get notifications about future crafting videos. Thanks for watching.